Hi everybody and welcome back to another pregnancy video. I can't believe we are getting so far into this pregnancy. I am currently 26 weeks pregnant and that is absolutely insane to me. I don't know where time is going. I really don't. So in week 26, according to the Bump app, baby is the size of kale. Baby is 14 inches and 1.68 pounds. They do give a cool little picture of the baby. Looks like this. I don't know that you can even see that on my camera. At week 26, baby's eyes will soon open, though his or her vision has a few weeks to catch up on developing. Feeling the weight of the baby? That's because baby's now about 2 pounds. Baby's heartbeat can be heard with the fetal Doppler, which is always an awe-worthy moment at your prenatal visits. The irises of the baby's eyes have yet to develop color. In fact, some babies' eye colors don't settle until he or she is a few months old. For the mom's body at 26 weeks, trouble sleeping, swelling, headaches, pregnancy brain, Braxton Hicks contractions, and slightly higher blood pressure. For me, 26 weeks hasn't been so bad, except for the fact that I had to go take my glucose test. Now, those of us that have taken the glucose test in the past know how much fun this is, and if you're a new mom getting ready to go take it, don't worry, it's really not that bad. I think everybody's a little over dramatic about it. To be honest, it really wasn't that bad. You know, you go in, you drink the drink, and then you get your blood drawn, and that's kind of it, and then you get your results later. In my case, I ended up getting my results, and they had messed up the results in some way. I'm not really sure what happened, but it came back saying that I was severely hypoglycemic, which is not good at all, especially because during this pregnancy, I'm not gaining enough weight. And the only way to gain more weight is to eat more food. And the only way to fix this whole hypo-diabetic thing is to eat more. So I don't even know what I would be doing as far as my diet goes had those been my actual results. But thankfully, my results were fixed and everything came back okay, and I am not diabetic at all. I don't have gestational diabetes or anything else that needs to be looked at. The results are good. For week 26, I started getting some cramping in my feet, and I know that can be a normal symptom. It's just not one that I've really had before. I've gotten like the Charlie horses and the cramps in my legs, but I haven't really gotten them so bad in like the arch of my foot, and I have a really big arch on my foot. They're not like super painful, but it's enough for me to be like, well, that's really annoying. But for those of you that have the leg cramping or the foot cramping, if you didn't know this, I'm going to change your life drastically. So when you get like a Charlie horse, if it's like right here, or even if you get like in the arch of your foot right here, flex your foot back. As soon as you start feeling it, go like this with your foot. Don't point your foot. If you point your foot, it's gonna get really bad. But when you start feeling that coming on, if you flex your feet like this, it will make the cramps stop almost immediately and it won't start back up again. Now it could start back up again, you know, in a couple minutes or whatever, but when you relax your foot, it should be like entirely gone. And so if you just start feeling it, flex your foot back before it gets too bad, because at some point, like for me, my Charlie horses would get so bad that I couldn't even move my feet. But when you start feeling it to start cramping just a little bit, flex it right back, good to go, won't have any pain. I have been leaking a lot this week. To the point where I actually do need to wear pads on my right side. My left side is my slacker side, and my right side is my overproducer side. And so my right side will just like all of a sudden start leaking and leak through everything. So I have been having to wear nursing pads and everything, at least on this half of my body. This half of my body seems to be doing okay for the most part. It's always a fun time when you start leaking, and a lot of people seem to think that when you're leaking that means you're going to have an awesome milk supply and breastfeeding is going to be super easy and everything. And that's what we thought with my first. It was like, holy cow, I can feed like 3 kids and I haven't even had my baby yet. But when she came out, all of a sudden I started underproducing. And even though I was still leaking and leaking through everything, for whatever reason, I was still underproducing. So don't let the leaking boob situation fool you into thinking that you won't have to try very hard to breastfeed, or that, you know, vice versa, that it's going to be really hard or that it's going to be really easy. Everybody's experience is different, and for me, it was not a sign that I was making enough milk at all. My hips have been hurting a lot. It's very hard to walk upstairs or to sit down and stand up, especially if I'm doing it like repetitively. Like one of my kids wants something from the kitchen, and then the dogs want out, and then one of the kids went in their bedroom, and then like sitting, standing, sitting, standing, sitting, standing. Not good at all. But I've been trying to get as much rest as possible as far as like sitting and laying down. And that has really helped me a lot with the pubic symphysis dysfunction that I get. I've been having some pain in my pelvic bone. If you haven't seen any of the information on what I'm talking about, I'll go ahead and link it in the iCard so that you can go ahead and see what the pubic symphysis dysfunction is. It is incredibly painful, like almost comparable to unmedicated childbirth kind of pain. It is so bad. And I've suffered it with all of my pregnancies. It is happening during this pregnancy, but thankfully I've been resting enough that it's not super bad. Every once in a while I get like a really bad twinge or like this burning pain, but it started really bad with my other two around 18 weeks. And since I'm working from home and I'm able to limit myself more at 26 weeks, I thankfully haven't been experiencing it that bad. Fingers crossed that it stays that way. This baby's also a little bit smaller. I'm not sure if the size of the baby has anything to do with how bad like my hip pain and my pelvic pain is, especially because the baby is head down, so like it's already in that area creating pressure and creating pain. But who knows? It could be because the baby's smaller, it could be because I'm relaxing. I don't know. One kind of scary thing that's been happening this week is I've been having a lot of contractions, and I'm pretty sure they're just Braxton Hicks contractions since I've already gone through 2 labors with no epidural or no pain medications, and they were both also induced. I'm not really sure that at the very beginning I would be able to tell if it's Braxton Hicks contractions or if they're real contractions. Just with the mindset of knowing that I can't have any pain medication, I didn't really start to think much of my contractions during labor and delivery until about like 6-ish centimeters or so, because I know that, like, I knew I was so early on that like if that was going to be my breaking point, then there's no way I'm going to make it to the end, and I don't have a choice, but I can't have any pain medications. I don't know that at the very beginning I would know that my contractions were actually real contractions, because I basically had to tell myself that those contractions that I was feeling at the beginning were nothing in compared to what I was going to be dealing with. And so in my brain I was like, oh, this isn't really that bad. And I also have really bad period cramps, so things didn't really start to bother me until about 6 centimeters. And when I got to that point, I had a baby in like 45 minutes both times. And so things could get a little rocky if I don't go in soon enough. So if I end up having real contractions and I am in labor, I just don't know that I would get to the hospital in time, and I just don't know how to determine if I'm going into preterm labor. And so the contractions were pretty close together. Yesterday I had like 5 or 6 contractions that were enough for me to be like, well, I definitely feel it and it's definitely uncomfortable, and they were all like 2 or 3 minutes apart from each other. I was just laying on the sofa. I wasn't doing anything crazy. I wasn't like picking the kids up or doing work or anything like that. They just kind of came on all of a sudden, and then they eventually stopped, and I've still had some here and there. So my guess is that they're just Braxton Hicks contractions. Obviously if I was in preterm labor, they would have still been going and they wouldn't have stopped. So I don't know. Things are just weird and crazy, and I'm exhausted. So on the note of being exhausted, I am exhausted, but not because of the pregnancy. We've been having issues with our oldest daughter and her sleeping. She has been absolutely miserable this whole week. She was constipated, and then she's having like separation anxiety at night, and she wants us to be with her, which is so weird because we've never done like co-sleeping. She's never slept in the same room as us, nothing. And now all of a sudden she's having like these anxiety panic attacks at night, and she doesn't want to go to bed, and then she wakes up freaking out in the middle of the night. And so we are not getting sleep, but it is not because of the pregnancy. So I don't know what it would feel like if I was getting a legitimate amount of sleep. Maybe I'd feel fine. One thing that drives me nuts during pregnancy is the coughing and the cold allergy symptoms that I feel. So my nose is still like stuffy, and my chest is still tight and mucousy, and that is just something I will deal with until the end. I can't think of anything else to update you guys on for this week. I'm trying to like run through everything in my head, but I think that is pretty much about it. So if you have any questions, leave them down below. I will be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Let me know how your pregnancy is going. I'm always super curious to hear about that. Also, if you have not seen yet, check out our giveaway. I will link that in the iCard as well. We are running a giveaway right now for our subscribers, so definitely check it out. We're giving away a lot of cool things. You do not want to miss it. Definitely make sure you get in on the giveaway. And I think that's about it, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Give it a big thumbs up, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys for week 27. Bye.